Okay, there we are. Let's go. We're going to make this work. Yep. We are going to make this work right now. There we go. And we are. Look at that. Check that. We'll go out in front and catch all the excitement. All right, folks, there we go. Look at that on the Tuesday. Let's see if I can pull this off. I think I can. As soon as that car goes there, I'm going to go this way. Folks, this is the real news. We are rolling. As soon as JR tells me, I'm just going to start. We're up in Dedham. This was, I believe, the final hearing on the Karen Reed case. It was very dramatic in court. And let me just double check. I think, hold on. Whoa. Let's go this way so we don't run into that car. All right. Traffic is clogged up a little bit in front of the courthouse, but we can make it work. I'm going to go by the courthouse. It should be the final hearing. Should be able to hear the crowd coming up. Yeah, you can see the traffic a little bit. We'll actually go like that. And let's see. Wow, if we were lucky, we'd get a space in front, but maybe they're not doing that. So I want to just show you, there's the crowd. Then they're waiting for the Karen Reed defense team to come out. I think I see a space. Big crowd there, all the Free Karen Reed supporters. This is going to work out. Oh, now they block it off. All right, that's okay. Well, folks, again, we are right now. This is what it's all about. Great job by JR. We are live right now. I'm going to I think I can turn the camera so you can see it a little bit. If I approach from the other way, then you'll be able to see it. I think we can do that. So, but right now it's 1:12. I know you're looking at just a red light, but we are, in fact, it was pretty dramatic with what just happened here. Let me just quickly show everyone what I'm looking at for those that are watching. And again, I think you can see. So there's the courthouse and all the supporters that are outside. And then momentarily, all right, let me go back here. The Reed defense team will be out, and we are done for the day. Is there no parking on that side, or can I? Oh, I can pull over there. Okay, I think I can pull over there. Oh, it's a fire hydrant. All right. Well, we're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna come back, folks. Again, it was a pretty dramatic day. This is the final hearing. Let's see if I can turn around. I think I can turn around right here. This portion of the program, folks, I want to put in a plug for DePietro.com, where we have, oh, I can ride through. So much information. Oh, this could actually work out just great. Look at this. Now that's where, what you're looking at on the screen, that's where right now we're live on Facebook, and we're live on YouTube and also on X. This could actually work out pretty nicely. At least I think you should be able to. This is not a bad spot. Let me just shift it around a little bit, everybody. There's the Dedham courthouse, and right now we're aimed at, that's the front, and I believe you're going to see that that's going to be the Karen Reed defense team that's going to come out. Now, again, I want to mention DePietro.com. We're brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue in West Warwick. Remember, it's lunch, it's dinner, it's drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Coesit Inn. So this works out pretty well. For those that were watching the hearing, it was really incredible. Oh, okay. Okay, I will. Understood. Okay, I'm just getting some information from some people right now, and then I will, Dislin Miller, I will go through the Cranston caregiver. I know a lot of people, the whole situation with Linda, and people want information on that. But today, for those that have followed the trial, it was wildly dramatic. Um, there's several things about the Karen Reed trial. Now, number one, obviously I follow it. I'll be on Court TV tomorrow. I might be able to kind of circle around a little bit. I think they're all still waiting out in front for Karen Reed and her defense team to come out. Although I think what you're going to see them do, we may just stay right here. The black SUV that you see right there, I think they're going to come around the corner and then they're going to hop into that SUV. So I think actually maybe we're just going to stay right here. But what was very dramatic today, now there's several things about the Karen Reed trial. Jury selection starts next Wednesday. And they believe it's going to take some time because of all the pretrial publicity to impanel a jury. So, and this is the retrial, as a matter of fact. So there was some things that were pretty dramatic today in court, and I will talk about them. The thing about this trial is it's a very difficult case to discuss, the Karen Reed trial, because of with people that buy into the conspiracy, you can't discuss it with them because then all they say is the police are corrupt and the judge is corrupt and the whole defense is like liar, liar, pants on fire. But for those that have followed it, now again, I'm talking to either the people that maybe you're not sure what happened or you understand that she's guilty. I want to be very clear. I am not talking to the Free Karen Reed people because you can't. There's no way to shake them from it. They believe the conspiracy. As I've said, if Karen Reed held a press briefing right now and said, "Listen, I'm going to plead guilty. That's what happened," they wouldn't believe her. So, but what happened today, which was very dramatic, was defense attorney David Yannetti had to lay out right there in court the third party culprit. And it was amazing to listen to because what they highlighted was that they just don't have evidence. That's what was highlighted. And let me put it this way before I go down a rabbit hole with some people. They don't have evidence that is used and accepted in court. I'm not saying that they don't. Their evidence is, well, this guy drinks and he knows how to defend himself. Therefore, he's a violent drunk, even though they have no evidence to support that. So, um, and by the way, and I know I'm saying by the way quite a bit, but here's what's also really important, I should say, is the third party culprit is everything. The third party culprit is the conspiracy that John O'Keefe was brought into the house. Officer John O'Keefe was brought into the house and beaten to death with no motive, with no murder weapon, and then tossed onto the lawn. And the third party culprit is, I think it's kind of on life support. I'm not convinced they're going to be able to bring it in. I am not convinced they're going to be able to bring it in. So I think that is something to watch. She didn't rule on that, but that could happen. Now, I think in the trial last spring, I know that in Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan mapped this out really well, which was every witness was treated as a suspect, and that's how they were questioned, as a suspect. But the fact of the matter is, there's no evidence, and that's a key word. There's no evidence that links the three to his to the death of John O'Keefe. There's nothing. I am right now eyeing and seeing if there's a better spot that I could land on and park so we could capture some of this. I think it could be possible. And so I'm trying to weigh that right now. But I can't emphasize enough how important that is, that if they don't have third party culprit, of which there's no guarantee. Now, I also want to just mention it is possible that she got into a car in front of the courthouse and they've already left. For those that are watching, I know if you're listening, it's like, what are you talking about? But if you're watching, you can see the angle. I can't exactly see the front of the courthouse because we're on the side of the courthouse. But it's very possible that they're not going to be able to go with that. And what I found was pretty astounding, and this was really important, was Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan mapped out that with the federal investigation, there were no arrests, there were no indictments, and essentially they didn't find anything of that, and he pointed that out. So I know it's a little inside, and there are some people that's all they do is follow, and then there's other people that they're just not up on it. But I thought that was really significant, and then we're gonna have to wait for the judge's ruling on this third-party culprit, just to map it out for people that may be unfamiliar with that term. In the OJ case, the third-party culprit it's someone other than the accused. So in third-party culprit, they really went after the LAPD, and that they planted evidence and corrupt cops and the like. And then they also kind of flirted with that it was, do you remember the whole thing, a Brazilian necktie, as if like a Brazilian drug lord cuts the throat of someone. So Johnny Cochran kind of flirted with that, but they went full throttle they put the LA police on trial. Mark Furman, that was third party culprit. Also, I covered in the Freddie Bishop trial, when he was last on trial for the homicide in Warwick, he tried to say, it was a half-hearted attempt, but he tried to say that he was standing outside his ex-wife's house and he saw this dark figure outside who called him over. And as he stood outside, the dark figure went inside the house. And that was never proven, didn't know who it was. Whole thing was, pretty shaky. So it didn't go anywhere. He was convicted. But in this particular case, now again, I want to be very clear. If you are a Free Karen Reed supporter, I fully admit that not only am I not going to convince you, I don't even try. I don't even try. I'll do a quick lap. Might as well. We're right here. Just so we might get lucky sometimes. Sometimes you get lucky. I'll do a quick lap. Traffic is not heavy. This is all going to change next week with jury selection and then when they impanel a jury. But what was very significant is when defense attorney David Yannetti, when he had to lay out in court the third party culprit, one of the people they mentioned is Colin Albert. And Colin Albert was a teen and high school student when this happened. And we're to believe that for no reason, he decided to take part in the murder of his neighbor, John O'Keefe. Okay, they are still all out front. You're going to see them right here. You can see all the people right to the right There they are, still standing in front of the courthouse, and also the media. So that means they're waiting for the Reed camp to come down. Now I'm not going to get stuck to the left. That is a lot of traffic. We're going to go right, and I'll circle around this way. Again, heavy. The Massachusetts State Police, they do a really good job. This is not easy with all the crowds, but I can't stress enough. I know a lot of people either A, didn't follow it, or they don't understand how significant it was. But, his evidence is that Brian Albert, he knows self-defense. So that means he must have taken his life with no motive. With Brian Higgins, uh, he wanted Karen Reed to himself. So his motive, folks, it's not your imagination. It sounds preposterous because to me it is preposterous, but I can't stress enough the number of people. I want to be very clear. I don't look to debate it. I'm not trying to convince anybody because you can't. People that believe a conspiracy, I think she is going to get into that SUV. People that believe a conspiracy, as I've talked about, they don't actually look for the truth. They look for tidbits. Oh, here they come. All right, we are going to catch them. Here they come, right there. Okay, so you're going to be able to see. Now I can't fully stop unless you catch the light, but you're going to see Karen Reed and her defense team coming right here on the right-hand side. And obviously, oh, we hit the light. Okay, let's see if they cross or, yep. Oh, they're going to come. Oh, no, they're going to the right. They're going to the right. So, okay. Okay, so there's the mob. And then you can see some stragglers out in front of the courthouse. So they did go around. I'll go around. I'll go around and then you'll see. Might as well. I think the spot that I was in was actually pretty good. And I believe that is the SUV that they were getting into. But I want to stay on schedule. Folks, remember Propane Plus for all your propane needs. They have a great website, propaneplus.com. It's very user-friendly. You just type in your zip code, and for all your propane needs, you can depend on Propane Plus, both Rhode Island and Massachusetts. You can see all the supporters that are still out in front of the courthouse. I thought that lady was going to let me go. It's Propane Plus for all your propane needs. All right, if you're listening, it sounds fine. If you're watching, just be patient because I'm just going to do a quick loop. And I actually like the spot that we were in. What's interesting is I was heading down, coming to the courthouse. There's when you're going through Dedham, there's that Tesla dealership. And I don't think, okay, they are actually all, the crowd's huddled. You're going to see them in just a moment. They are huddled outside of her car. This is where then she is greeting all of her supporters and followers. See them, just follow the American flag. You can see them all out there. And she does have, when I was here last spring, there they are. They had 500 people that were out here. We'll see. I know they're looking to, you can hear it. Actually, it's actually not that loud today, but you see all the Free Karen Reed people. And what I think is interesting is these are all the individuals. Again, folks, what you're looking at live right now at 129, this is Dedham, Massachusetts, and this is outside the courthouse. You can see the people in that sedan is the Karen Reed defense team. I could follow them, but they're going back to wherever I think the attorney Alan Jackson, I know, I'm sure they're going to be flying back to the West Coast, I think. I don't know. But they don't have to be back until jury selection next week. You can see all the people that are out right there on the sidewalk. It's just some of her supporters. So we'll give you the latest and all the other news and so forth. So jury selection starts next Tuesday, and then after they find a jury, which I'll also touch on because I think it's actually going to be easier than they think, which I'll touch on. But I want to just once again, Propane Plus, call them today for all your propane needs. 401 885 4209 or 508 252 3359 for Propane Plus. Again, at 1:30, what you're looking at, this is Dedham, Massachusetts. Final hearing before the Karen Reed trial. This portion of our program brought to you by Watson Materials. Boy, look at the sun out. A nice sunny day. Folks, Watson Materials. Call Sean, request a quote, 401 885 0600. Watson Materials, landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, decorative stone. Watson Materials, the most complete selection of landscape material in Rhode Island. Call them 401 885 0600. I want to once again repeat, I am not debating any of the free Karen Reed people. They follow, I'm not. And it's pointless. It's a wasted exercise. When people buy into and believe a conspiracy, they do not look for the truth. This has been my experience. They only look for little morsels, nuggets, tidbits to further the conspiracy. But for those that are new to the case, I'm going to post some of the audio. But today, defense attorney, Karen Reed defense attorney, David Yannetti, today was a very significant day in the case. He laid out the theory. But it was, I thought Special Prosecutor Hank Brennan kind of won the day. They don't have one witness that puts him in the house. They don't have any forensics that show that he was inside the house. They don't have a murder weapon. They don't have a motive. They don't have any evidence. They just have accusations against people that happen to be there. What was also very significant with the Karen Reed trial is, and it was Okay, there we go. All right. And we're back. Sorry for that glitch, everybody. Wow. I know. Here's a good question. What the hell happened? It's the sensitivity of being in the sun. Now, I just want to double check and make sure that JR is still good. No, we are back. We are back. So, again, folks, I apologize. 137. Sometimes, let me just hear the JR. I just need JR to say that we're good. Again, we are up in Dedham. Look at that. We are back. Holy cow. It's not easy. Right now, again, it's 137. And I'm just waiting for JR to signal to me. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going. And then let me know when you rejoin, JR. Oh, good. We're good, says JR. All right. Now, where was I? My goodness, what we try to do. Folks, it's not easy again. Good. JR says we're good. Listen, when I'm dealing with JR, this is all I need. We make it happen. All right. Now, let me just get back on track. Again, everybody, the trial or jury selection starts next week. And there's as much as there's so much at play here, and a big part of this, by the way, is going to be if they're going to allow the third party culprit defense to come in. Because I'm telling you, if not, this is going to be an extremely different situation, and it's going to be a different trial. Now, I also want to mention, as I okay, we're going to be good like this. And I just want to mention for everyone, there's a number of people, and I talk about this a little bit. It's not helpful. There are people that have never followed a case, and they've never followed a trial. And so I get that, there's freedom of speech. And if people just want to say that everybody's corrupt and blah, 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 I mean, I guess you can think that. But as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about the Cranston situation and the caregiver situation. That's not, do you really think that's the system that we have? So all police are corrupt. The court system is corrupt. All judges are corrupt. I don't, as someone that, that I follow, obviously, cases, have covered cases, that certainly hasn't been my experience. No, I don't think that's the case. And a lot of the people, like, that's their MO, that everything is liar, liar, pants on fire. And like I said, the judge is corrupt, the police are corrupt. I just find that a lot of the people, at least some of the people that were outside today at the hearing, or just that I've encountered, if you ask them, have they ever, if you mention another case, they don't have other cases that they've followed, or they just don't have any point of reference. So I'm telling you, I'm not saying this is not an easy case. I'm going to talk about the Cranston caregiver in just a moment. But if somebody just says, they're corrupt, to me, it's akin to, can you imagine watching? I can't imagine, I should say, but watching a football game, and there's someone just saying it's rigged, it's all rigged, that team is rigged, the ref, it's rigged. I mean, if you want to believe that, again, it's a free country. I don't believe that, but if somebody wants to believe something like that, I'm not, I'm not going to try to stop them. But and maybe there are people that believe that. Folks, this portion of the program brought to you by Kids Club on the Pike. Remember, birthday parties, before and after school programs, now taking reservations for their summer camp. Kids Club on the Pike. Now call Kristen today because the spots are filling up. 401 443 5336. 401 443 5336 for Kids Club on the Pike. And they are right on Plainfield Pike. They're right off of 295 on the Cranston Johnston line. It's Kids Club on the Pike. It's 142. It's Tuesday. What you're looking at, that is the courthouse. And based on what had happened, I get a little gun shy about navigating around. We're going to stay right here, but that is the courthouse. This is where the Karen Reed jury selection is scheduled to start next week. April 1st is the start of it. And then they're going to try to impanel a jury. There are still some outstanding motions that the judge needs to hammer out. But the retrial, as someone that covered, I was up here right now. What you're looking at on the screen, that's the Dedham Courthouse, Dedham, Mass, live. This is going to be a very different trial than the retrial. And by the way, that I don't believe the judge is corrupt. The federal investigation showed no police corruption. But if you're listening or watching right now, and I know there's actually seemingly more people that believe there's a conspiracy that don't. You are absolutely entitled to your belief. I am not trying to sway anyone or convince anybody. So you can go ahead and believe that. That's the reporter from Channel 5 that just walked by, David, that he got the Proctor interview. But you can believe whatever you want. But I believe for those that haven't followed it, it's going to be a different scene in the courtroom. And I also want to mention all these interviews, and we'd be talking to attorney Tim Dodd, our legal analyst at the time, and he'd be saying, I don't think these interviews are a good idea. And the media had, and by the way, the Reed people, they encouraged it, unfettered access. It's coming back to haunt them. It's coming back to bite them. And that documentary where Karen Reed herself talks about, she was questioning the attorney on David Yannetti on culpability. Am I responsible if maybe I clipped him in the leg or I ran over his foot or if I hit him in the knee? And Yannetti's saying, yeah, you are. And then she said, well, give me 3 days and I need to think, I'll think of something else. And then 3 days later, she said, oh, I didn't hit him. I think they must have beat him up in the house. That's how that came from. Again, if you want to believe he went in the house, have at it. I am not going to try to even try to convince someone otherwise. Folks, this portion of our program, and it's brought to you by Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Call Corey today, 401 283 9815. 401 283 9815. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. It can make your pavement look like new. They will keep your parking lot safe by fixing potholes, cracks, make sure your lines are bright, direct traffic safely. They also do sports court resurfacing, pickleball, tennis, basketball. They epoxy garages and patios, decorative concrete flooring. A call today, free estimate, Quality Asphalt Seal Coating, 401 283 9815, and look for them on Facebook. Hey, it is time for spring cleaning. As far as your yard, you need a spring cleanup, contact JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service. Call them today, 401 441 0154. Now, I do want to touch on, again, that's why we're here. It's for the Reed hearing. I want to be very clear. I am not trying to convince anyone. I in no way. If you believe that the whole thing, um, okay. If you believe any of that, then go ahead, and you can believe it. But but I'm not even going to try to convince it because as someone that has sat through this, and as I've talked about, I had this presented to me quite some time ago, actually the summer of 23, and the defense keeps changing this story, and I think it's interesting that Karen Reed's own words have in fact to me, they're coming back, for lack of a better expression, but to bite her, so to speak. Now, I recognize motive to commit crime. Karen, I'm looking at some headlines. Karen Reed's lawyer saying 3 key witnesses. There's no evidence of it, though. There's no evidence of it, though. Colin Albert was a teen. Brian Albert, Boston police officer, highly accredited. And Brian Higgins, ATF agent. If you're listening or watching and you say they're corrupt, all cops are corrupt, the judge is corrupt, the system's corrupt, blah, blah, blah. I am not going to be the one to convince you otherwise. Now, I want to just touch on some other news of the day. Now, later on, I'm going to look into, and we'll see, we may investigate the situation regarding the Cranston caregiver. Now, I know people are asking me if there's any update. I'll say this. If there's an update, then I'll bring it to your attention. I also see Channel 12 says Warwick police searching for women missing since July. So this is interesting. Police in Warwick are asking for the public's help in finding a 56-year-old woman who's been missing for more than 8 years, Michelle Romano. Police say they have no evidence suggesting suspicious activity, but are putting out another alert to the public about her disappearance. And so that's the first time that the Warwick police have put out that. So I will be looking into that. Now, that's a very different case. I'm very familiar with that case. I will, how can I say this? I will look into that, and I want to see. It's all I can tell you is it's a very different case than the first time around. Excuse me. Let me back up for a moment. It's a very different case than the one that just took place with the missing woman with Linda over the weekend, and it's a very different case than the Charlotte Lester case. And I'm very familiar with the Michelle Romano case. I will check. I don't think I have anything from Warwick Police, but no, I don't have anything from Warwick Police on that. So I will check into that. Now, as far as the situation with Pete Hegseth and what's happening with that, I have been tied up with the Cranston caregiver case, and I have also been tied up now with the Reed case, Karen Reed situation. So I don't, I'm not sure what to make of it, but I don't know what to make of what happened with that. I like all the parties involved. I'm not sure. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know why Pete Hegseth was in Hawaii, for crying out loud. By the way, the Channel 10 reporter, she's good. I saw her yesterday in Warwick. By the way, weren't the two nieces, weren't they terrific? They were just fantastic. I saw them for that, and I'll family of women with disabilities demand answers from caregiver. We were live for that. So when I if there's any update, and let's see what happens with let's see what happens with let's see what happens with the Cranston police investigation. And I'm gonna there's a lot of speculation, and there's a lot of speculation on that. I don't know what to make of it. The bottom line is Linda is safe, and that's the most important thing. And it's a very unusual case, to put it mildly. Now, again, we are right now, what you're looking at is we are live outside of the Dedham Courthouse. We're done for the day. I see a number of people that are still standing out in front of the courthouse. This was supposed to be the final hearing before the Karen Reed trial that starts next week, and it was pretty impactful, because as someone that has followed this, it was the first time that I, as someone that has followed it, been familiar with, where Hank Brennan, the special prosecutor, demolished the third party culprit. Now, I want, once again, um, I want to preface this by saying if you are a free Karen Reed person that believes in the conspiracy, nothing I'm going to say is going to convince you. And I'm not even going to try to convince you, by the way. But for those of you that do follow court, been inside a courtroom, followed another case prior to this, what I thought he laid out very effectively. And by the way, the free the, as they're known, the free Karen Reed people, they just demonize everybody. They demonize the police. They demonize me. They demonize Julie Grant of Court TV. I could go through the list. Jennifer, Kevin, Grant, Judge Janine looked at the case. They go after her. What's her name? I'm blanking on the Nancy Grace looked at it. Anyone, W. Phelps that looked at it. Anyone that comes to the conclusion that this was a hit and run with death resulting, they demonize, they go after. So I don't engage in conversation. What's the point? It's it's very reminiscent that they don't realize they're in a cult. They don't even realize they're in a conspiracy. There's someone that's part of it, and I asked them to watch The Truth versus Alex Jones, and they still couldn't figure it out, which I highly recommend. So, but what Hank Brennan illustrated, and here's the point that I'm trying to get to, is you can't just stand there and take someone and put them on the stand and question them like they're a witness or, excuse me, a suspect in a very aggressive tone and try to say, well, that's, it could have been, it's not to me, it's akin to liar, liar, pants on fire, or it's like the dog ate my homework type of thing. So what is unique about this case is as the Commonwealth sat silent, Karen Reed launched the conspiracy. And even though many parts of it have been totally knocked out, it doesn't matter because they only follow that. And I've gone through this before. I've touched on it. I'm not a conspiracy person. I actually don't like the conspiracies. I don't like them. I think they're very destructive. I didn't like the people after 9/11. It was an inside job. Um, and then the worst, well, one of the worst was Alex Jones with Sandy Hook. There are still people to this day that think it was all fake. There are various conspiracies that people get tied into. Someone that I've known for a very long time, um, that I know the family, one of the family members flew to Dallas. This was the summer of 21, 3 years ago now, and thought that JFK Jr. was going to appear at Daley Plaza and wanted to be there for that. JFK Jr. is alive, has been in hiding, had to hide because of Hillary, and he's going to reappear. He's been alive this whole time, and he's going to be Trump's VP. That did not happen. But there are people that flew to, I know someone. I don't know them like great, but I know who they are, and, we've communicated. Um, she flew to Dallas. I still never got past the point that if your father was assassinated, is that where you'd want to go? Like you'd want to go to Daley Plaza for that? I don't know. JFK Jr. tragically died when the plane that he was the pilot of went down off of Nantucket in the summer of '99. But there are people that flew to Dallas and still believe it. So anyhow, but just to cut to the chase of it, when David Yannetti got up and gave the third party culprit defense with no evidence, it was, I know a lot of people probably didn't understand it, but that was a game changer in the case. That was a real game changer in the case because they had never fully illustrated it. And I also like Hank Brennan pointed out that Karen Reed had dinner with Greg Hill and whoever his sidekick is, from AAF, from EEI, and told them that there was no animosity between Colin Albert, the teen, and John O'Keefe. So she told them that. And if they have to, maybe they get dragged them into the stand. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, they may get subpoenaed. So I don't know who that is honking. There's a lot of people that honk going by the courthouse. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by Modern Mechanical. Call them today. Remember, residential service, central air conditioning, ductless air conditioning installation, repair and maintenance, Modern Mechanical, boiler repair and maintenance. Call Richard, furnace repair and maintenance, heater repair and maintenance, Modern Mechanical. Call them today, 401 441 5442, 401 441 5442 for Modern Mechanical. Well, folks, good afternoon. I'm so glad. Thank you to JR. We definitely recovered. Now, I also want to point out, I am not going to be up here every day for the retrial. They're doing like a lottery every single week, different media people. So if I get chosen, I'll go into court and cover. Otherwise, I'll be up here sporadically. I will be covering the case. I'm going to be on Court TV tomorrow morning with Julie Grant. I went in the court today because you pick up a lot when you go in the court. You pick up a lot in the hallway. You pick up a lot talking to the family. I picked up some things today. And the more they see you, the more many of the people that work at the courthouse sometimes mention things or you overhear things. Little things. I don't mean, I didn't hear her confess or anything like that. But you pick up little things that sometimes other people don't pick up on. And I'll be sharing some of that tomorrow on Court TV in the morning with Julie Grant. Now, later today, we're going to see, I think we're going to do Road Patrol Live. To be honest with you, folks, I'm still tired from the weekend. I have not had, we are working 7 days straight. It was very expensive. I'm not complaining, but we'll see how that is. She is Dana. She was the first time around. She was very patient. The Yannetti explaining the third party culprit, that was something. Folks, don't forget J. Perry Paving. All your paving needs, call them today. Free estimate, 401 732 1730, 401 732 1730. Letter J, J. Perry Paving. It's 1:59. If you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Thank you, JR. Great job. Everybody else, let's wait and see. We may be doing Road Patrol Live later. Look for me tomorrow morning on Court TV. It's coming up to 2 o'clock.